Hello, I'm theoliverpickard and welcome to beautiful Limousin, France. Today is Cars and Coffee Day. So we're going to be walking around checking out some cars. We got here a bit earlier. There's a little parts market on, and this is Gouzon Car Show, or Gouzon Cars and Coffee, which is hosted by my friend Seb, whose 2CVs there. His is the same year as mine, but it's backdated. It was backdated sometime in its life. People are just arriving. It hasn't officially started yet. I don't think it officially starts for another hour, so we'll have to see. So we'll walk around and check things out and see what's what. Standard Velo Solex. This is one similar to the one that we saw at the 2CV National, with the cool backwards brake levers. And this is a 24 hours of Velo Solex. Front wheel drive racing motorcycle. How cool's that? Peugeots, you might have seen these on my Instagram. Little badass 4CV rally car. Visa soft top. I didn't even see a Visa soft top at the 2CV National. There's some incredibly rare cars in my local area. Another 4CV 911. We're in a row of rear engine cars. Amiate brake or estate. That's pretty. Cute little 2CV6 MGB. That's cool. So this is a Charleston up 60s Azam. Cool. The Charleston, I think's 1972 or something like that, first year. So this is a modified Azam, or personalised, shall we say. That's cool. They always play really good music at these events. Unfortunately, it makes it copyright. So I have to avoid the music at all costs. Now let's go check out the local car club cars. Beautiful, freshly restored Mahari. That's nice. Mark 2, Mark 3, I don't know. It's one with doors. My Mahari knowledge is limited. I've never spent a lot of time around Maharis. Not yet, anyway. Really, really nice 4CV. That's super pretty and clean. Right, look, haha, now I've got an extension, you can see. Look how small a 4CV is. Awesome. You think they're going to be like Morris Minor sized, but they're so much smaller. That's pretty. Traction's everywhere. Traction, and it's all at the front. Alta Morena. The Speedwell Blue MGB that was at the hill climb. I do love a good traction. There's such a pretty car. And right, check this out. If you didn't know about traction advance, look at this legroom. That is not a big car, and yet it has acres and acres of legroom, both front and rear. Utterly superb family car they make. This is a pretty AC4. Have a look at this AC4. Ooh, original paint scheme as well. Although I doubt the original paint's that clean, because this is stunning. And again, Citroens and acres of rear legroom. They're such spacious cars, and it's something that you don't see when you look at them online, and when you look at photos and stuff. You don't actually realise the fact that it's a small car with tons and tons of room in it. Lovely little square light. 2CVs out in force as always. And this is a Peugeot 301D. So this is the first generation of this. There's two front ends for the 301. And this is the early sexy front end. And then a Monoquarte, which is a Renault. So this car, and that car are all kind of the same generation. They're all competitors at the same time. Lovely big Healy. MX-5, of course. This is my local car club. And, of course, a beautiful DS, but Unimogness. There's early Unimogs everywhere here because it's very countryside, obviously, and they found a niche in the market here in rural France. So cool and tiny. I mean, okay, it's not a small car, but it's definitely not a big car. I love Unimogs, absolutely love them, and I tend to look at them online for sale more often than I should. So this is a DS, and this is a GS, if you didn't know. And in fact, this is a GS Palace, which is the posh one. A GS is kind of halfway between a DS and a 2CV. They have a 4-cylinder, flat, but air-cooled engine. The DS was actually designed to have a 6-cylinder, flat, air-cooled engine. But by the time they got to doing that, Citroen kind of said, come on lads, you've spent enough money. You've already created the most revolutionary car the world has ever seen. Calm down. And being the posh one, it's got the nice seats. 2CV van, AK400. Okay, so that's why the M4602 is one of the best sounding 2CV engines, if not the best sounding 2CV engine. I like this particular shade of green. This particular shade of green is very nice, don't you think? I wouldn't say no to a 4CV. I'd find a way to fit in it. I love them. Utterly cracking little car. Rear engined, rear drive, and there is a connection between Ferdinand Porsche and 4CVs. They are Beetle related, but in my opinion superior. They're water cooled. They've got a radiator in front of the engine, in the back. Louvers are good. A little Simca around here. Oh, Simca Rondes are a bit unloved. They're a bit of an ugly duckling car here. There isn't really the support for them. Oh, by the way, old McCormick tractor dealership. How cool is that? But Simca Rondes, they don't seem to get as much love. And if you see an old car in a garden, like a proper classic, sat in a garden, it's usually in a Ronde, sadly. They need to be more loved because they are fantastic little cars. Such a fantastic little car. Okay, it is basically Jolene with a sexy body and a bigger engine, but very, very cool car. Mostly draws attention for having the back window on a funny angle, but the coolest thing, in my opinion, is that interior. Which is, in my opinion, without a doubt, the best 2CV variant or 2CV interior ever. And it has the best engine, so there we go. Peugeot 404. Peugeot 404 diesel. Actually, Peugeot set the land speed record for a diesel with that engine. Another Peugeot diesel. Peugeot were big on the diesels back in the day. More 4CV goodness. Right, 4CVs, 2CVs, what's it all about? Okay, the CV thing means chaveau, or a steam horse. It's basically how the French government used to do tax. That's it basically. And it basically means the tax bracket that your car fit into. So a 2CV was less tax than a 4CV. Opel record. Very, very cool bit of kit. And of course, a lovely 2CV6. Let's go and have a look at these Italians while nobody's around. Gorgeous little Fiat 126. They've done a lot of work on this since last year. It looked a bit sorry for itself when it first turned up. And a lovely little Fiat 500. That shows off just how small a 4CV is, because a Fiat 500 is minute. But there's a lot more room in a 4CV than there is a Fiat 500. Lovely bit of Daimler. The bells, the bells. I'm not going to complain about bells, at least bells aren't copyright. This is what happens when you hold your car show next to a church. And it is a very pretty church as well. Ooh, this Peugeot's pretty. Have a look at this Peugeot. The Motor Bicane's cool, but that Peugeot is just awesome. There's a huge love of these tiny mopeds here in France. They often come whizzing by my house. Hey, Planet 2 CV, Etienne, you're represented. Squillions and Motor Bicanes and stuff. Not many Velosolexes and stuff. They're kind of older, 50s. I don't think you can have a car show without a 911, do you? Love a little 504 V6, soft top. And another SM. I'm very lucky to live in a place with multiple SMs. Love a little 105 Alpha. Bagheera S, which, if you remember from my coupes video, I recommended as one of the best coupes you could buy for under 10 grand. Another little 504 V6. Another car that I've recommended in one of my videos. Peugeot 206 GTI. All Peugeot 206 GTI seems to have loads of miles on them, and that's because I think people can't stop driving them. And a Super 5 Turbo. Okay, why have I called this a Super 5 Turbo instead of just a Renault 5 Turbo? Right, there's two Renault 5s. There's kind of two generations. There's a bunch of different models, but the main generations are the 5 and the Super 5. The Super 5 has a transverse engine, unlike the earlier car, and it's also longer, and it has normal front suspension, and it's slightly heavier but makes a lot more power. But they still blow through a carburetor. It's still carbureted via a turbo. Turbo via a carburetor, not fuel injected. And they have a little fan that blows on the carburetor to keep the carburetor cool.
Après, en fait, là-bas il y a une viale, et en fait il y a des places libres là-bas. Et du coup, avec de l'espace, on peut repartir facilement. Et côté place,
That's cool. That's a lovely Simca Ronde. This is in lovely condition. More attractions. If you're familiar with Minis, and this looks a little odd, it's because it's an Innocenti Mini 1000. And Innocenti are basically the Italian Austin. And it has bigger lights. Very cute little thing. And this is super rare. I've only ever seen one before. This is a Matra 530. Super, super cool. So this predates the Bigera and the Morena, and also the DG. And as you can see, it's mid-engined. That's super cool. I do love a green Porsche. And the Prima Quarte, I think. Little Renault. This is the Renault version of the traction Avant. It's not a version of, but it's the competitor. Lovely little cars. 912s are pretty. They might sound like vans, but they're very pretty. Check out this ambulance. Rolling museum, eh? See, I couldn't have something like this because I'd be putting like blocks of concrete in the back and stuff like that. I'm too utilitarian. I get told off for putting like bags of cement in Jolene. And if I had something like that, well, I'd have to. I wouldn't be paying for breeze block delivery, that's for sure. Another 5 GT Turbo. May recognise Amandine and Guillaume as the owners of Tetanus. This is Amandine's car. Hello, Amandine.
Oh, look at Oliver.
Yeah, have you got enough head?
Enough photos.
I got photos. Oh, come have a look. Amandine, I'm coming in.
Come. Oh, that's cool.
That's the one thing about having sun visors that's a good thing that I don't have. such a cool car. I went to the Panda region because they're yummy. And one of the advantages of having a car show in the centre of a French village is that it's in the centre of a French village. It's a really nice bakery, especially when the bakery tastes nice. Oh, Peugeot's going out. Local Harley boys out in force. Of course, dwarfed by the local Peugeot Moped Club. That is a stunning colour for an Alpine. That's pretty. So, a lot of people have just nipped out to go for a drive around the local area just as it starts raining. But we stayed, and it's a good job we did, because that is a very pretty Alpine A110. So we've got a 310 and an A110. Very, very pretty car. Well, I thought it was a 1300, it's now it's a 1600. Alpine fun in the middle of France. One of my favourite bits of geeky knowledge about the Alpine A110 is it uses the indicators from a Citroën Diane. And that's why Diane indicators are really expensive. Watch, Citroën Diane indicator. And over here is more cool motorbikes keep turning up. See, same indicator. How cool is that? This is a really nice Diane. It's a top spec one, and it's got a boot floor in it like Jolene does, and the interior has the nice steering wheel. That's incredibly clean. I like the colour as well. Good Diane colour. And some American stuff has turned up. This is where my knowledge of cars runs out. So Pontiac V8 something. Giant big thing full of chrome. It's nice though. I like it, it's pretty. And a big Oldsmobile Toronado? Don't know what that is. It's big. And it's American. And big American blue thing. But I know it's Malaysia, that I know. But I don't do American stuff. I don't know. We're here at 8 o'clock this morning to try and catch the good stuff from the market, because I was hoping to get some fog lights, but I failed to. So before it looked a little bit grim, but the heavens have well and truly opened, and it's binned it down. So everybody ran for cover, but everybody stuck around, and it's been really nice because everybody, unlike normally when people just walk around and look at cars and stuff and chat a little bit, people have actually sat down and really talked, and it's been really nice to actually get to know a lot of my people in my community a lot better than I did before. This has been one of my favourite car shows I've ever been to, which is bizarre, seeing as how I spent half of the time in a tent nowhere near my car, just talking to friends and making new friends, and it's been utterly lovely. But there was very loud music playing over there, so I've come away because I've actually got a bit of a headache. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please let me know by clicking like down below. It also lets YouTube know that I exist, and that's a wonderful thing that you can do to support me. Another thing that you can do is subscribe. If you're new here, if you've never seen one of these videos before, welcome, and I hope you'll stick around. I make 2 videos a week for free and for nothing. All you've got to do is click subscribe. Please be awesome to each other, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.